What's going on, Broncos country? Looks like we are live, but you guys know the drill by now. We got to let the stream breathe for just a second here. Make sure that everything is nice and stable all across the YouTube platform. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this Denver Broncos Syndicate pregame show as your Denver Broncos, currently sitting at 12-3, are set to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who sit at 6-9 and are limping to the finish line. They've got a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball. They're down to their third-string quarterback. They've got a bunch of injuries on the offensive line, on defense. It's really bad for Kansas City. The Denver Broncos need to win their next two regular season games in order to secure the number one seed in the AFC. It's going to start off with this game, which is going to be a really, really good litmus test. Can you bounce back after a bad performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars against a reeling and, quite frankly, bad football team in the Kansas City Chiefs? It's been a while since we've been able to say that, but regardless, the Denver Broncos have a lot of business to take care of tonight on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Day, I should say. Let's go ahead and say hi to some people here. We've got Ronnie Thompson in the house saying, let's go Broncos. Let's go beat the damn Chiefs. Come on. Edward Ruiz says, can't see the game because it isn't on regular TV. Nope, it is streaming on Prime Video. If you are in the Denver area, it will stream, or it'll show on Channel 7. But otherwise, you do have to stream it on Prime Video or find some other way to stream it. Little hack, you can actually watch the games for free on Twitch, both the regular copy as well as the Prime Vision Live All 22 copy. So if you guys don't have access to the game, that is one way that you can watch it. We've got Ron in the house. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well on this Christmas evening. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes until the Denver Broncos kick off. So let's go ahead and gloss over the keys to victory for this game. Obviously, you've got to stay healthy in this one, and Denver's been accumulating a lot of injuries in these recent weeks. Obviously, Luke Wattenberg is the latest one. He's been placed on injured reserve. He's going to miss the next 4 games. So these next 2 regular season games and the first 2 playoff games for the Broncos, should they advance that far. That definitely stings, and Denver is going to have to make some adjustments in order to account for not having Luke Wattenberg out there. Excuse me one second. Gotta get rid of this bot. Sorry about that, Broncos country. There we go. So obviously, we've got to stay healthy, and we cannot contend with very many more injuries on either side of the ball. No penalties, stupid or otherwise. Denver's cleaned up their penalty problem over these last couple of weeks, especially last week. Penalties, there were some, but that wasn't the main issue for Denver. A lot of the penalties that were called were ticky-tack, quite frankly. So you can clean up your technique. A lot of the penalties that are just stupid and egregious on the team, those have mostly been cleaned up, but still no penalties in this game. You got to stay on schedule early on offense. Just focus on getting that next first down. The Broncos hopefully can get through this game and maybe be so far ahead in the third quarter or maybe early in the fourth quarter, and they consider pulling their starters in that game. I'd like them to pull their starters just so we don't have a bunch of injuries, and so that way next week when we have to play our starters once again, we'll be as close to full strength as possible. Rowan says, for me, it's on ABC. Yeah, here in Denver, and I don't know if it's other places in Colorado outside of the Denver media market, but it is on the ABC channel here in Denver. Snare says, what do you think about the Steelers? I think they're playing some good football right now. Aaron Rodgers is playing well. Their defense is playing better. They're going to get TJ Watt back, and their run game has been really solid, and as well as their receiving game out of the backfield with both Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. I think that both of them are really, really solid running backs, and I believe the Steelers have a really good chance to make some noise in the playoffs. Pardon my out-of-focus camera here. Let's go ahead and dive into this little Diet Pepsi, shall we? Tiffany says, please stop by. No. How about no? William asks, what do you think about who's better, Rolando or Messi? I don't watch the other football, so I couldn't answer that, quite frankly. Hope you have a great day. Thank you so much, Lisa B. Really appreciate it. Hope you've had a good Christmas. Kansas City got smoked by Tennessee, and for some reason they're not playing their young guys that much. That is interesting because you'd think they're out of the playoffs. It's looking like they're going to have to make some big changes on both sides of the ball. You'd want to play your young guys, you would think, but clearly Kansas City isn't doing that. So, yeah, very interesting. Another key to victory in this one, attack favorable matchups in the secondary. Kansas City has a ton of injuries back there. There are some guys that are going to be making their first career start in this game. Denver should be able to get multiple favorable matchups in the passing game, deep downfield, short, intermediate areas. Yes, they've got some injuries at wide receiver. Pat Bryant being down for this one sucks, but they are going to have a lot of favorable matchups, which I feel like they should take advantage of, and the passing game should thrive for the Denver Broncos in this game. William says, just pick one. I guess I'll go Messi, but again, I don't have an honest answer for you there. Kansas City is trash. I mean, I'm not going to say they're trash because they're still coached by Andy Reid. They still got Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. They're going to fight their ass off and try to play spoiler in this game. I got to give them their due respect, but the fact is they're not playing good football. They are a bad football team. They're 6-9. They are what their record says they are, quite frankly. Turtle says, good evening. Good to see you, Turtle. We're going to lose on purpose to get the 10th overall pick. I'm assuming you're a Chiefs fan there. I don't think that Kansas City is just going to lie down and die in this one. Denver's going to have to go out there and establish dominance early and often in this game. They're going to have to sustain drives on offense, get pressure on Chris Oladokun, who's going to be making his first career start at quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Oladokun got into the game against Tennessee, made a couple of nice throws, had a couple of athletic plays, some throws off schedule, but he looked like a quarterback who was lost in the sauce, looked like a deer in headlights, quite frankly. So I feel like the Denver Broncos should get pressure on him early and often, try to keep contained on the edge. That way he doesn't break outside. If you can keep him in the pocket and get pressure on the interior, which is the strength of the Chiefs' offensive line, but if you can pressure on the interior, that is going to be huge in terms of stopping this Kansas City Chiefs offense, which is reeling right now with Chris Oladokun at quarterback. They don't have much of a run game. Their receivers are all injured. So, yeah, it's just a mess right now for Kansas City. Seahawks are the best team right now. They are playing some really good football. Got to give Seattle their due respect. I don't know if they're the best team in football, but they are playing really, really good ball right now. I'd better see a beating of the Chiefs. I mean, this version of the Chiefs is very similar to the version of the Chiefs we faced last year in Week 18, and the Broncos shut them out and hung 40 points on them. So I'm hoping we can do the same thing here. It might not be to the same extreme just because Kansas City does have some starters in there, such as Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, et cetera, but I'm hoping that Denver is able to establish dominance. That way we can pull starters in this one. Division game, baby. It's the Evil Empire versus the Broncos. Well, it's the Evil Empire with a couple of their key pieces missing, but still, I get the point there. Kusa says Bears are the GOATs. We'll see about that, man. The Chicago Bears, they've gotten some really fluky wins this year. Caleb Williams has made some nice plays, don't get me wrong, but I still wonder if he can elevate this team to a Super Bowl contender. He made some really nice throws against the Bears, against the Packers. Obviously, that game winner was a spectacular special throw. So he's definitely trending in the right direction in terms of proving my skepticism wrong. But we'll find out. Once we get to the playoffs, it's a completely different dance. The Broncos have playoff experience. They went to the playoffs last year. Bo Nix has playoff experience. Caleb doesn't. So we'll see. Will that lack of playoff experience come back to bite the Chicago Bears? I don't think it will, but that is a question that needs to be asked. We need to be angry. Just got embarrassed at home. I can't stand for foolishness. I agree. And I think the Broncos are going to come out angry in this one. I saw them as they were coming off the field against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. They were angry. They were pissed. They had that look on their face that was like, man, we had multiple chances to win this game, and we just simply blew it. I think Denver's going to come out on a short week and take that frustration out on the Kansas City Chiefs, which, again, is not really the Kansas City Chiefs at this point in time. You got to be aggressive and take out that anger, but you can't be reckless. You can't force throws that aren't there. You can't needlessly commit to a ground game that isn't working. You can't blitz if you're not getting home, etc., etc. Be aggressive, but if that aggressiveness isn't working, then maybe you should dial it back and be a little bit more conservative. Feed Jaleel McLaughlin. I think the run game is going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's been feast or famine ever since the J.K. Dobbins injury. But Jaleel McLaughlin has shown some nice burst and explosiveness and a good complementary feature to R.J. Harvey. I think Harvey has his best plays as a receiver out of the backfield, so I would love to see more of that in this game as well. So keep giving R.J. Harvey love in the passing game, and I think it'll continue to yield good results. 2 of their corners are out, and they're on their 5th and 4th string tackle. Yeah, and one of those tackles is actually inactive for this one, so I think they're down to like 5 and 6 now, basically. Really, really, really bad for Kansas City. We'll see if Denver's defensive line can feast against a patchwork offensive line for Kansas City. I believe they can, but again, if they don't play well in this one, they just don't deserve to be the number 1 seed. That's the pure and honest truth. If they don't play well and if they don't dominate this really bad version of the Chiefs, they just don't deserve to be the number 1 seed. Have to come away with this next 2 games, have to get the D back on track for sure. And again, if Denver wants to be the number 1 seed, they have to win these next 2. It is mandatory. They've got to come out and play their best football in these next 2 games. You've got to have a plan to negate Steve Spagnuolo's blitz packages. Bo Nix has played well against Steve Spagnuolo defenses in his career. He has a plan to negate the blitzes, so I think that Denver is going to have another good game, not having to deal with Steve Spagnuolo and his exotic blitz packages, but we'll see if they come out and have a similar game plan as they have these last several games against the Kansas City Chiefs. Try to hit another deep ball with Mims or Franklin. The Broncos failed to connect on one of those deep balls against Green Bay. They did connect on one of those deep balls against Jacksonville. So hopefully we can connect on one of those in this one. Bring heavy pressure on Chris Oladokun as well as contain him in the pocket. If you do both of those things, then you're going to have a really, really good day on defense, I feel like. Keep Hufanga or Barron on Kelsey. I think that's going to be a really strong approach for the Denver Broncos to neutralize him. Oladokun's going to try to get the ball out quick and rely on Kelsey as his safety blanket. So if you sell out to take him away, then you can definitely slow down this Chiefs offense, any potential production they might have. And something to note here, this might be Travis Kelce's last game at Arrowhead. I feel like the Chiefs are going to want to send him out the right way, but he does have a 3rd-string quarterback throwing in the ball. If Denver sells out to take him away, I don't imagine he's going to be a threat. You got to take Travis out of the game. Obviously not by injury or anything like that, but you've got to utilize your game plan to take him out of the game for sure. I think Harvey will have a really solid game. I sure hope so. And when Harvey has big explosive runs, that's obviously really good. He has those pretty much once every single game. But he also has like 4 or 5 runs where he's running right into his blockers, has poor vision, wants to bounce everything to the outside. That's something he continues to struggle with, and I'm hoping we see improvement in that category in this game. Let's see here. Sell out to take away the run game for Kansas City. Obviously, they've got Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, Brashard Smith. Try to take away those guys, make this Chiefs offense one-dimensional, and force Chris Oladokun to beat you through the air. If you can force Chris Oladokun to beat you through the air, Denver should be able to get home, get sacks, force turnovers. I'm hoping we can finally break that turnover spell and get a bunch of turnovers in this game against a 3rd-string quarterback with a patchwork offensive line. I'd like to see Denver use Mims the same way Dallas uses Turpin. I do think that Denver lacks some creativity in the way that they utilize Mims. That's on Sean Payton, but the question is, has Mims really earned that opportunity? I've heard some stuff out of the building about route running concerns, stuff like that. So I think there's a reason why the Broncos aren't utilizing Mims as much as they are. Who's playing center in place of Wattenberg? It's going to be Alex Forsyth. He's started games for the Broncos before. Bo Nix is old college center at Oregon, so there's experience there. There is going to be a fall off in terms of run blocking with Alex Forsyth. We'll see if he's improved his game in that category since the last time we saw him. But I do think that in terms of pass protection, I think that Alex Forsyth, he's going to be pretty good there. Oh, I'm sorry, it was the other way around. My brain was completely jumbled there. I was thinking about Luke Wattenberg. My bad, guys. My brain got completely jumbled there. Luke Wattenberg is the guy who is good in pass protection but struggles as a run blocker. Alex Forsyth is the guy who struggles in pass pro but is good as a run blocker. So the deficiency there for Denver is going to be in run blocking in terms of Alex Forsyth. We'll see the deficiency is going to be pass protection. I cannot get that shit out. I am sorry, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. The deficiency is going to be pass protection with Alex Forsyth. My God, man. Sorry about that. I could not get that shit out to save my life. Keep contained on the edge. We talked about that. Denver struggled with that big time against Trevor Lawrence. So you're going to have to find a way to not let Chris Oladokun out of the pocket. Make sure your edge rushers are setting the edge and not letting him out. That is a big time key in this game. I expect 6 to 7 sacks from us. I hope so. The bare minimum should be 5. You should be getting home against this patchwork offensive line, for sure. If VJ lets a third-string quarterback beat us, then he should be shown the door. I agree. And the players that are responsible for any bad execution, if they let a third-string quarterback beat us, should also be shown the door. Let's go Denver. 2004 Subaru says, right on, right on. Good to see you, good to see you. Watch out for Brashard Smith as a receiving threat out of the backfield. He can make some nice plays in space with the ball in his hands. So screens, stuff like that, you want to keep an eye on that for Brashard Smith. Keep good pursuit angles in the tackling game. Wrap up and finish. Denver had some piss-poor tackling against Jacksonville. We cannot have that in this game. Talanoa Hufanga, Riley Moth, Jade Barron, Alex Singleton, everybody was responsible for the bad tackling in that game. So it's hard because you're on a short week. You're not running a full-scale padded practice. It's hard to correct tackling fundamentals on a short week. Hopefully, Denver just looked at the tape, see what they did wrong, and they take better pursuit angles, and they're much better wrapping up and finishing their tackles. I think we can win by a lot if we execute well. I completely agree. And we'll talk about my score prediction in just a second. I believe they're going to do that. The goal here is to build a large lead in this game and pull starters by the fourth quarter. You're not going to be able to rest your starters next week against the Chargers. So you're going to have to find a way here to build that large lead so that way you can rest your starters for the back end of this game in order to not have to play a depleted unit next week. Can someone tell the Lions they have to score more than 7 points to win a game? Yeah, I haven't watched for about 15, 20 minutes, but obviously it was not looking good for their offense, turning it over multiple times. Jared Goff, a couple of bad throws. Jahmyr Gibbs had a fumble. Just not good execution on the part of the Lions offense. And credit to the Vikings defense. They're playing well. They're forcing these turnovers. They're forcing these mistakes. So, yeah, credit goes to them for sure. Jeffrey says, go KC. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough outing for them, and it almost feels like this Chiefs team is dejected, and they're in very unfamiliar territory right now. I'm hoping the Broncos can take advantage of that. Justin says, Chiefs play the Chargers Saturday, 2 p.m. on CBS. Is it CBS or is it NFL Network? I saw advertisements for it. I want to say it's going to be NFL Network, and if it is, I'm not going to be able to stream it since it's on cable, and I'd have to do streaming on YouTube TV, which my internet just is not strong enough to do that. So, yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stream that game unless it's on mainstream TV here in Denver, which I don't believe it is. Ultimately, I think the Denver Broncos are going to play a lot better in this game. They're going to come out pissed off, and they're going to come out wanting to correct all their bad execution from last week. So it's for that reason I have the Denver Broncos winning 38-10. I think they're going to come out, establish a large lead, be able to pull their starters, and we are going to be good moving into next week for a big-time game against the Chargers. If the Chargers lose to the Texans, it is CBS? Okay, then I might be able to stream it. I'll go check that out. Oh, it's CBS and NFL Network. Okay, that makes sense because I saw it being advertised, and they were just advertising it on NFL Network. So if it's on CBS, then yeah, I'll go ahead and stream it because that has massive implications, assuming, of course, the Denver Broncos win this game. If the Chargers lose to the Texans, the Broncos will win the AFC West. There are some other outcomes that can happen that can lead to Denver winning or clinching the number 1 seed this week. The Patriots would have to lose to the Jets. That's probably not going to happen. The Eagles would have to beat the Bills. And then there's one more. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but obviously that Patriots-Jets one, that's probably not going to happen. Of course, it's the old adage of any given Sunday, right? Maybe the Patriots, they don't have a good day. The Jets, they come out wanting to play spoiler. They're going to be starting Brady Cook once again in that game. I'll be honest, I haven't really watched the Jets on tape in the last several weeks. I don't know how Brady Cook's doing out there. I'm not wasting my time watching New York Jet football, but who knows, man? Maybe the Patriots come out. Yes, it's the Jags and the Colts. That's it. The Colts would have to beat the Jags. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to happen, unfortunately. My guess for the score will be Denver 45-7. Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. That means Denver executed and they did their job. I'm going 38-10. KC might put some points on the board in garbage time, but I fully expect Denver to come out, take care of business, and do what they need to do. Yeah, I'm not wasting my time with that team. I'll watch the highlights, but that's about it. I'm not diving into the Jets. Phillip Rivers has been phenomenal, considering he's 44 years old, has been out of the game for essentially 5 years. His ability to dissect defenses pre-snap at the line of scrimmage is truly elite, man. Watching that game on Monday Night Football was a true masterclass. Seeing him be able to recognize where pressure was coming from, use the pocket to his advantage. It brought a tear to my eye, quite frankly. It goes to show the lack of quarterback development across this league, if I'm being perfectly honest, man. I mean, the lack of development at that position, you don't see quarterbacks in this league outside of like Dak, Aaron Rodgers, maybe Joe Flacco, guys who have been in the league for a long time. They don't dissect defenses pre-snap at the line of scrimmage like that. Patrick Mahomes is pretty good at it too, but even these superstar quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, you don't see them operate pre-snap at the line of scrimmage like that. So, yeah, man, Phillip Rivers, hats off to him. What he's been able to do is nothing short of remarkable, and the old man still got it. If he wants to play next year, I don't know if he'll want to because obviously he's still a high school football coach and all that stuff. But if he wanted to play next year, he'd probably get an opportunity to do so. Bronco fan says 31-13 Denver. That would be nice. That would definitely be nice. I'm hoping it's a little bit better than that for Denver, but I would definitely take that. Vikings defense is killing the Lions right now. Yeah, it wasn't pretty last I checked in, man. They were getting home, getting to the quarterback. The Lions have a patchwork offensive line. Jared Goff made some mistakes. Jahmyr Gibbs had a fumble. Yeah, just not pretty, man. Colts are going to start Daniel Jones when healthy. The problem is Daniel Jones isn't under contract next year. He only signed a 1-year deal with Indianapolis. Do you take that risk that he's going to recover from that injury? And you got to be honest, Daniel Jones has suffered a lot of injuries in his career. He's an injury-prone player. Do you want to make that long-term investment now? you kind of backed yourself into a corner because you traded away those 2 first-round picks and went all in on Daniel Jones. As well as he was playing, that was still a questionable move. First of all, trading away 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, that was a bad move. But the injuries were always a concern with Daniel Jones, and sure enough, it came back to bite you. So, I don't know. And then you got Anthony Richardson. Reports are he still hasn't picked up the offense. He doesn't understand the scheme, the protections, any of that stuff, and he's never going to survive as an NFL quarterback if he doesn't learn that stuff. So, yeah, the Colts are cooked, man. They are absolutely cooked. Justin says Denver 34-7. I'll take that. I will definitely take that. Maverick says, what's up, Gage? Hope you're having a good Christmas. I'm having a really good Christmas, man. Just chilling out by myself today, actually. My mom is visiting family. My grandma is also visiting family. So I'm just chilling out here. Had some hash browns, some bacon, some eggs for breakfast. Gonna have some tamales after the game's over. So I'm just chilling and having a really good time watching football, smoking some weed, and hanging out with you guys. Absolutely love it, man. Unless the Colts want to sell it for Joe Burrow, I don't think that's going to happen. They don't have the draft capital, and Cincinnati's not going to move Joe Burrow. Burrow may want out, but Cincinnati's not going to move him. They're just not going to do it. They messed up on that. They really did. They really did. Let's end our losing streak at Arrowhead. Yep, haven't won a game at Arrowhead since 2015. That was my sophomore, or was it my junior? That was my junior year of high school. God, man, that's crazy to think about. We did backpacking trips for my high school, and I remember coming back from the backpacking trip, and Denver versus Kansas City Thursday Night Football was on TV. I was living in New Mexico at the time. So, yeah, I'll always remember that game. Obviously, the scoop and score on the Jamal Charles fumble by Bradley Roby, that was awesome. That was awesome. So I'm hoping that we can squeak out a win. 5th grade? Jesus Christ, that's insane. Yeah, I feel too, Turtle. I hope Bryant's doing better since the Jags cheated. I mean, on that particular play, there was nothing illegal about it. That was a completely legal hit. 35? Okay, so you're about 9 years older than me, so yeah. The Bryant hit, I don't think there's anything illegal about that. It was just an unfortunate bang-bang play. Throw was a little bit high. The whiplash got him. He's doing much better, and indications are he will be back for the playoffs. But, yeah, there was nothing illegal about that play. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and start winding down this stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have yet to do so, go ahead and drop that score prediction in the chat. I'm saying 38-10. Denver Broncos take care of business, and they pull their starters. So let me know your thoughts in the chat below, guys. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to smash that like button as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Maverick going with a shutout, 31-0. I mean, the last time that the Denver Broncos played against a JV Chiefs squad, they shut them out and they hung 40 on them. So maybe they can do something like that again. We'll see. If you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. The link is in the description below if you want access to this content ad-free, along with all kinds of other perks and incentives. We've got 8,000 subscribers on this channel, and if just 100 of you became supporters on Patreon for as little as $5 per month, it would make a massive, massive difference. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you on the game stream in just about 30-ish minutes. I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.